Welcome to the Kinetic Belief podcast. I'm so excited to champion and encourage you every week, right here.
Pushing the boundaries of expectations and rewriting the rules of adventure are the reasons we get up in the morning. This is a way of life, a huge and growing community of explorers and adventurers, leading the way, blazing new trails, and raising the bar. We share your hunger for a life without limits, and we know you'll stop at nothing to get there.
Meg, welcome back to the wild places.
It's great to be here. It's almost overwhelming how often we are in nature.
It's beautiful. It's like all the time now. We're up in the Colorado Rockies, actually in the southern part of Colorado.
Yeah.
And it is gorgeous, and it's just amazing as far as you can see all around us. Mm-hmm. You got rocks and trees and high alpine meadows and trout in the stream here behind us. And
we've seen some people fly fishing around here, and I love the joke that we've sort of that's set in every morning. We wake up and say, "Oh, look, the sun's out."
Yeah,
the joke is that it's out every day.
All the time, isn't it?
All the time.
Well, we come out here so that we can unplug from the noise of the world.
Yes.
And so that we can turn all of our thoughts and attention inward, because what we're talking about is the law of attraction, the law of kinetic belief, attracting a life that you want to live. How vitally important is that? Life is precious, Meg.
Yes.
We only have so many days on this planet in the physical. And you don't have to live a life of torment. You are not a victim. You are not what other people define you as, because all of us are creators. We all come into this world creating.
Yeah.
And you're participating in the creation of the life around you, whether you think you are or not. There is a power in the universe that is always working to attract the very thing that you're meditating on, the thing that you are imagining. Be it good or bad, that is the life that you're creating.
Have you ever had a moment in your life where a few years comes and goes and you wake up and you go, "Oh my word, what was I doing?" And that flew by, and
haven't we all?
And
right?
and who am I? And I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah, that's mind numbing, isn't it? You get into a circle, and I don't mean a vortex. You get into a circle of life to where you become this habitual pattern of living, and you all of a sudden, one day you are woke, you awaken, you go, "Oh my goodness, what has this been? Are you kidding me? Look what I'm missing." Electronics will do that, entertainment will do that, books, if you're not careful, will do that. It'll suck you right into the stronghold of distraction.
Yeah.
And in that place of distraction, you are attracting the things that you don't necessarily want to be attracting, and it's mind numbing, and you just disappear.
I think I've probably heard that happening most in relationships, and then also in career paths that people have chosen, and they don't necessarily love it, but they've invested so much time, they're too afraid to move on to something else, but it just becomes this sort of mind numbing loop that they have trouble getting out of.
We all have purpose. There is a divine creative purpose for every single person that's ever walked in the physical on this planet. Sad to say, most people don't ever find that. There's like 1% of the total population that will actually find their purpose in this life. And then they are attracting that good thing, that perfect thing.
Yeah.
But not everything that you attract wants you any more than you want it.
Right.
I was just a young boy, and I told my dad I wanted a dog, and I probably should have told him what kind of dog I wanted. And he brought home Dobie. And Dobie showed up in the driveway in the back of my dad's old station wagon, and Dobie was a greyhound.
Oh my goodness.
And Dad opened up the car door, and Dobie jumped out, took off, did what greyhounds do, and I only saw him one other time. I was out delivering newspapers, and I saw him crest a hill, still in full gait and run. Never got to pet him.
The legend of Dobie.
Dobie didn't want me anymore. Well, I wanted him more than he wanted me, but I didn't know what I wanted. It wasn't my heart's desire, and so we were tracking something that didn't belong.
I'm sure a cuddly greyhound does exist, but I'm not sure it's the normal nature.
Love to find him. Love dogs, though.
Yeah.
But imaginations is a powerful thing to
Yes.
consider when you are into the practice of attracting, kinetically believing for the things that you want to be attracting.
Absolutely. And I think imaginations is the foundation really of your teaching, because it's all, we talk about how everything is in the mind. I think we saw a quote the other day, Mondays don't suck, your attitude does.
Yeah,
It all
right.
begins with, and imaginations are the seeds that everything grows from, as
true.
you've mentioned many times.
Right.
Probably the biggest question is, how do you control them?
The way that you do this is, most people go through this life, and we even are asked when we were young, what do you want to become? What would you like to be? Even as adults, and I know 60 and 70-year-olds, they're like, well, I'm working on becoming something new, something different.
I love
That's
that.
the first mistake, though, because when we are, very few people will become what they want to become. You have to go through this life unbecoming. Unbecoming the things that have been told to you that you are becoming. Condemnation, negative energy, people that are judging you negatively. Those things become you. And if you don't unbecome those things, then they will manifest the reality and the circumstances around you. But so we need to, you come into this world as a creator, perfect, unique, like no one else. That's who you are. That's not who you want to become. You are already, you've already become that. But what happens is, as we go through the land of the living, we start unbecoming what we were.
Wow.
And so it's a mindset, it's a way of turning the way that you think about life, and you practice every day unbecoming the bad news, unbecoming politics, unbecoming condemnation, unbecoming mass shootings in some mall, unbecoming the warring nations, unbecoming traffic and road rage. You unbecome those things to simply be who you are.
Wow. So it has a lot to do with identity. It sounds like you're building, it's the building blocks of your identity. You're working it up from the ground up in your thoughts. And then, as you've said many times, thoughts become words, and then words become things.
Right.
And those are the bricks of life that you're working on here.
Right.
I love the concept of unbecoming. If you have allowed something negative to enter into your mind or your spirit, and you can sense that you have to undo that to move on to the positive stuff, and that's what I want to talk about now. Is we just finished, imaginations, getting rid of the negative imaginations. How do we use them to attract the perfect life?
Well, and you go back to the unbecoming part, because if you are, you have to understand how you are allowing a negative thing to become you. And the way that you allow it is that you react to it, or you respond to it. And that's the test, that's the challenge, is that negative energy is attracting in the same way that positive energy attracts. And the way that you allow something to become you is you react to it. Somebody says, well, let me tell you something. You say, well, let me tell you something. You just allowed that something to become you. Or if someone shouts at you and you shout back, you just became anger.
Yeah.
If something tries to provoke fear into you and you respond in a fearful way, you allowed that negative thing, negative energy to become you. So what you do is, first of all, and this is a mental game you have to play, but that's the practice that we're in, because you are choosing your responses. Choose to respond to the positive, choose to respond to the negative. It's a choice. We don't have to emotionally respond. Because we feel angry, so we lash out. Don't do it, because you've allowed anger to become you.
Whenever I've sensed that someone's sort of trying to bait me into a conversation
That's a
like
great
that,
word, yeah.
I in my mind I go, no, that's not on my vision board today. Your attitude, your negativity, all that toxic junk you're trying to put on me, not on my vision board, not who I'm trying to become.
That person's not worth it becoming you. Don't allow it. Don't respond to the negative information that you see on television or in the news. Turn the stuff off. You're communing with it, whether you think you are or not. It is impossible to remain neutral. At all times, we're communing with positive energy or we're communing with negative energy. There is no in between. There's only two forces in this world. There's not a third. You can't remain neutral in this. And you're deceived if you think that you're not participating in negative energy by watching the scary movie, by watching the fables about murder and crime and all these things. don't allow your eyes to consume it, because you're communing with it, and that negativity, you're allowing it, and it's becoming you.
What would you say to the person that likes what you're saying, but then they say, well, gosh, I want to stay informed. I want to know what's going on in the world. I can't tell my friends to not tell me their problems.
Yes, you can. Absolutely. Someone telling you their problems doesn't make the problem go away. It doesn't isolate the problem. It spreads the problem. The problem has now become you. You've allowed the problem to grow. The quickest way to extinguish a problem is to not fuel the fire.
Wow.
And you don't fuel it by listening to it, giving it harbor. It's like a cancer. It wants to grow. You're not staying informed by watching crime. You're giving crime. It's like terrorism. You're spreading terror. You're allowing terror to be spread through your spirit. You're allowing it. It becomes you, and it will manifest in a way into your life. And that's how kinetic belief works. And attracting the basics of attracting a good life and a perfect life. That's how it works.
So positive breeds positive, negative breeds
Absolutely.
negative, toxic
Yes.
breeds toxic. Let's say that let's say I'm single. I want to attract a mate, a life partner, someone to do this whole law of attraction life with, through kinetic belief. How can I use imaginations to begin that process?
Well, that's a great question. And there's the obvious. You want to have very frank conversations with people as they come into your life to determine if this is someone that is going to also be involved with the law of attraction.
And to add, this works for friends too.
And
if you're looking
friends
for a friendship.
and family, all
Any
people
relationship.
are people, all relationships. We want to categorize people. You've known, for example, I knew this guy or this girl since I was 5 years old, so this is like a sister, like a brother. It's still another person. Imagine the perfect boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. Imagine what that person would be like to you, and hold on to that. And don't be so quick to make exceptions when someone comes into your life. Well, I was hoping for my Prince Charming, but you'll do.
Because I don't want to be alone.
And all that you'll do, you get hooked up with this person, and then tomorrow there's Prince Charming. Shows up, and all along, the substance of things hoped for is like, I thought this is what you wanted.
Yeah.
You settled for something else. And it's usually right before the thing you've been hoping for shows up.
So that's a wonderful point. Getting the image of what you are attracting into your life, into your mind, and then staying on that and pursuing it and developing that image as long as it takes is vital. You cannot put a timetable on the
That's right.
result of your imaginations.
You have to look at the image as being the reality. If you've imaged it and you're holding on to it, then that image exists. So why are you accepting something other than the image? Why are you accepting something that exists other than what exists?
Absolutely.
Reality is in the imagination that has kinetic belief and power behind it, because that authority then is sending out into the universe, which is always creating mass according to what's imagined. It's bringing it back to you. So as soon as you imagine it, it already exists. Don't settle for something else, because you've turned the page of reality over to something else. And in fact, it's something that you most likely did not attract. And you want that perfect union to be attraction with attraction. You want it to be someone's hope with someone's hope. Otherwise, you're unequally yoked in a relationship. You could have been attracted by a man that you're not attracting. You want both attractions to be meeting in that place. And typically that will happen through a kinetic belief. Kinetic is motion. Motion simply means that you are, regardless of any other information that comes in, you are not moving off of what you initially believed for and hoped for. Now, you can add more components to it. Maybe you want to add another inch or two to his height. But you hold on to what you're creating and allow that to manifest. Don't change. Don't give up. Don't put a time limit on it, like you said.
And I love that we started this conversation talking about how imaginations, they affect your identity. And the type of person that you're wanting to attract into a relationship, it can be a mother, a father figure, a friend. You're trying to find someone to date or marry. But the type of person you imagine is directly connected to how you see yourself and what you think
Absolutely.
you're worthy of.
That's right.
So this all sort of connects
Worthiness.
in this circuitous route sort of way.
That's right.
Your identity is affected by your imaginations, but then also what you're hoping for.
Start it with the love walk. Get into a love walk, unconditional love for yourself. And that means you're going to cast down imaginations. Imaginations that you're casting down are anything that's negative, condemnation. People that have made you into a victim, that tell you that you're not worthy, that you're a loser, that you are this. They want to label you with negative labels, and all they're doing is trying to get that stuff off of them
Yeah.
because they haven't checked it either. Someone has bullied them in their own lives. So you have to unconditionally love yourself. You are perfect. You are beautiful. The divorce wasn't your fault. You're not at fault. You're never to blame. Nothing is your fault. And everything, your reality is all in your attitude and your gratefulness and your appreciation for life, your appreciation for the beauty around you, and your love for, unconditional love for all. And my goodness, don't ever allow yourself to be the boss of anybody. You were not brought into this world as a creator to be in control of anyone else. Stop thinking that you need to give people a piece of your mind, set them straight. I don't care if it's the bad service in a restaurant or wherever. Let things be. And learn to just take care of yourself, keep yourself elevated, be the boss of no one, and allow these things to happen, and remain in that place of peace and optimistically happy, grateful for all, and maintain the very idea that you're attracting for a perfect life, perfect health, perfect finances, perfect relationships, casting down imaginations, and every high thing that would exalt itself to displace the thing that you are trying to attract. And that's the challenge here in the physical, in this life. But once you practice this, you can start attracting things every day. Every day, new things coming in, exciting things coming in. You're looking for it, you're expecting it. You jump out of bed in the morning expecting these things to happen.
You just used a phrase that I thought was really interesting. You said cast down imaginations. Walk us through the process of that and what that means to you.
Well, casting down imaginations is the very thing we've been talking about, recognizing what is something that you are allowing that you shouldn't be, negative energy versus positive energy. If it's based in condemnation, don't harbor it. Don't consider it anymore. Cast it down and don't allow it place in your own life.
This has been amazing.
It sure has, Meg.
Oh man, I cannot wait until next week.
Well, let's pick it up and continue again next week and meet again in the wild places.
Absolutely. If you want to see the live version of this, StephenCanyon.com, and all the other goodies are on there as well.
That's right. And go to the website. Why should they go to the website?
Well, oh my goodness, you can see the live video version of this podcast, which is always going to be shot from a remote, exciting, beautiful, wild space. And you're going to have the planner that's going to be on there for the holidays, the Kinetic Belief planner.
The planner that is so vitally important to your success.
Yeah.
It keeps track of the visions and the
Yes.
imaginations, and it keeps track of
Oh,
the thing
yeah,
that you're hoping for.
It
and
keeps you on
believing
track,
for.
and you're going to have ebooks on there. We're going to actually, the ebook is already on there, and we're adding them every single day. And it's amazing how active that website is.
Oh yeah. Well, it's exciting. I'll see you again. Maybe we'll be up on the other side of the ridge next week.
Oh,
What
I
do you
can't
think?
wait to see where we are. Thanks
All
so
right.
much for this.
Sure. See you next week. Bye.